I'd like to call the City of Apache Junction Council meeting of June 17th,
Emma.
2025 to order and ask everyone to put their cell phones on silence. The invocation and pledge of allegiance will be done by Peter Heck, and the council member for the pledge will be Brian Scholler. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege and freedom we have of being able to gather together this evening to discuss city business. We ask that you give the staff and council wisdom and clarity in their decision-making. Keep us mindful that we serve the residents of this city. We ask you to watch over the men and women who serve in our military the world over. Keep them safe in these troubling and turbulent times. We ask also for your blessing on our first responders, including our police and fire departments, along with our EMS personnel. Please keep these brave men and women safe in their duties to protect and care for the residents of this city. We ask now that you give comfort and peace to the family of Officer Fazio as they deal with his loss. Please help them hold on to his memory as a remarkable man and a fine police officer. We ask also that you give our police officers and command staff the strength and courage to carry on as they come to terms with the loss of one of their own. The City Council and staff are extraordinarily grateful for the way this community rallied around our police department. We want our police officers to know that we love them, care about them, and will be praying for them as they begin the process of recovery while continuing to keep the residents of this city safe. Thank you for the honor and privilege we have to serve the residents of this city. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Before we get started here, since we have a lot of people here that are concerned and wanting to speak and concerned, we're asking, because of the number of people here that may want to be speaking, on a specific item, if you have a group, if you can select someone to come up and represent the entire group, we'll give you a 5-minute period of time to do your presentation, which is a little longer than everyone else that has a 3-minute. This way, we're kind of consent and, to have the, not necessarily a repeat of everything at the same time, but it will help us go a little quicker through the meeting.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can I just make one quick announcement
Sure.
to the public? If you are here to speak on item number 8 on the agenda, there is not a need to complete one of these forms. The mayor will announce the public hearing, and at that time is when you can come up and speak on that. If it is on any other item on the agenda, at call to the public, which is at the end of the meeting, we do need that form submitted to me before the city manager's report. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Schroeder,
Present.
Councilmember Cross,
Here.
Councilmember Heck,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Nesser,
Present.
Councilmember Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. As a reminder, all items under consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request will be made prior to approving the consent agenda and will be moved to new business. Do I have a motion for consent agenda?
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Soller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Cross,
Yes.
Councilmember Heck,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay. Regional intergovernment meeting updates from the council. Before I turn it over to the council, I'm going to, basically in the aspects of kind of introducing it, we had the memorial service and then a barbecue for our lost officer, Fazio. And it was something really and truthfully, it was fantastic to see the response that we got. At the memorial service, we had our two representatives from the area, Greg Stanton and Andy Biggs were there as well. And it was something that really, at the memorial service, the place was packed again. And it was something that really, is seen by not only our community, but seen by the entire area, how well the response was for this fallen officer that we have, and how we, basically, in a sense, we make sure that we are supporting our local police, and our police are very proud of the fact that, and understand how people were stepping up to them and walking up to them and giving them hugs and saying thank you for your support and what you're doing. So after I open it up to council, I'm going to have a short video, which I'll have Matt play at that time. So turn it over to the council. Anyone else want to say anything?
Mayor?
Yes.
I'll start off. As you know, I'm a police officer in Mesa, and I've been to every officer's funeral and all the charity events for them since 1995. It was amazing, the outpouring of support and love from this community. I've never seen so many community members show up and show their love and support of our police officers. And it's easy to get kind of jaded as a police officer because you work in the 10% realm, the 10%, the ones that want to commit criminal acts or do violent crimes or any of that, and you don't always get a lot of time to spend with normal people, the 95% of people, because you just go about your lives, you live, you're happy, you're protected, and the police generally don't show up. But when troubling times like the loss of Officer Fazio, the community, that silent majority that love and honor their police and respect their police, it was amazing to see that show of support. And it really helps the officers understand that, yes, they are well loved in this community, even though they deal in the dark 5% most of the time. The 95% respect you and love you, and that was great to see. So I wanted to say thank you to our community.
Anyone else? Yes.
I just would like to echo Mr. Solar's words. It was very moving service, and it was just amazing to see the outpour of love and respect for our community and for our officers. So thank you, everybody.
And I was totally shocked. I got over there 10 minutes after they opened it up at 11:10, and I had a heck of a time finding a parking place. And then I decided to come back at, because we were going to go until 7, and I just decided to come back, roughly about 4:30, and had the same problem again. I had to park all the way out in the boondocks in the aspect on it. And it was tremendous in the aspect that both, the calming and the initial aspects of it, and as well as the later on in the day, how it was very positively felt. And I also did this Saturday, the Flag Day that we were doing over at the Veterans Gazebo, and working with the VFWs. And we had, a fair turnout in the aspect on it, and they had a bucket that they said, they would get taking donations to Fazio for the family. And when it came time, in the short time that we were there, we collected $250 that we did, and we took it over to the police to be turned in. But I mean, this is how great our community is. I have one other thing I wanted to bring up that occurred today in the aspect that at the, I almost said the old one, Phoenix Gacy, excuse me. Mesa Gateway Airport. We had a report in the aspect on this past year has been the most number of passengers that have flown out, in and out, I should say, at the airport, and breaking all kinds of records in their fuel amount, the number of aircraft that they've had, and it is, I'm going to say it's a proud in the aspect on it. We've taken a military base, and which 9 times out of 10 turns into really almost nothing going on at most other military bases that I'm familiar with. But this one is really capitalizing on the area. And if you're planning to fly out sometime, I suggest that you take a look over there to see what's, because they're just convenient. And also, we had an election of our chairperson, and it's Lieutenant Governor Lewis, who is the governor of the Gila River Indian Community. She's going to be our chairperson, and Mayor Freeman from Mesa is going to be the vice chair. And unfortunately, I got selected to be the treasurer. So continuing on. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, would you like the video played now?
Yes,
for
please.
Officer
I'm
Fassio?
sorry.
A man that we loved and respected, a husband, a father, a son, a friend, and a protector has been taken far too soon.
It's easier
Que los hijos despidan a sus padres,
for the children to say goodbye to
a
their
que nosotros
parents,
como padres tengamos que despedir a nuestros hijos.
to us as parents having to say our goodbyes to our children.
Dad, 46 years with you were too short, but every good moment spent with you was the most beautiful moment a girl could ever ask for.
I believe God places certain people in our lives for a reason, and Fassio is certainly a blessing to me, and I will miss him deeply.
Officer Fassio truly loved his job. Fass, I'm gonna tell you one thing. We stood watch together, a thin blue line protecting the prey from the predators, the good from the bad. Mi hermano, vaya con Dios.
And for the community that did not know him, how you can carry this legend on is when you meet somebody with the name of Gabriel or Gabriel, do me a favor. Stop for a moment and say, I want to tell you a story about a young man named Gabriel that lived the American dream, that had the purest of hearts. And although I didn't know him, I wish I did, because he would have changed my life.
Attention all units. Clear the air for priority traffic. 409. 409. 409. This is a final call for Officer Gabriel Fassio. Badge number 409. End of watch Sunday, June 8th, 2025. Officer Gabriel Fassio served for the Apache Junction Police Department with honor, integrity, and unwavering commitment. Officer Fazio. Thank you for your service. You will be greatly missed, sir. Rest in peace. We got it from here.
Thank you. Regional, let's see, we did that. Okay, city managers report.
Staff, Your Honor, Bryant Powell, City Manager, thank you for sharing this tonight. Thank you for all your support this last week, and thank you, community, for the love and support. Our department's hurting more than I can express, and I just want to tell everybody how much we appreciate the love and support to the Fazio family, and that the world we live in is not right. It's not fair. It's really messed up, and my mind's trying to put my head around it. But thank you very much. I have no further report, Your Honor. Just to tell you thank you, and that we appreciate our officers very much.
Thank you. Current events, Eli.
Eli, anything? We don't have any events, sir.
Okay.
We have events, but not tonight.
Current events, but not now.
Yeah.
Okay. Public hearings, consideration and application of a new Series 7 beer and wine liquor license for Cat Wagon Tap and Bottle. Evie.
Thank you, Your Honor. This evening, we have two new liquor licenses. Our first one is for Cat Wagon Tap and Bottle. The original owner was Christopher Ray. The location, type of license, nothing is changing. It's just that he's adding two new business owners to the liquor license. Same process as previously. We received the application from the Arizona Department of Liquor. A notice was posted at the location for 20 days prior. We received correspondence from our four entities: the Police Department, Building and Safety Division, Planning and Zoning, and the Superstition Fire. All four entities find compliance. There's nothing, again, that changed with this. And I was trying to see, is Chris or Scott here? Doesn't appear that the applicant is here this evening. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Okay. Any questions from the council? I will now open the public hearing. There's a 5-minute time limit with a 1-minute warning that you will hear. Please state your name and address for the record. Anyone like to speak on this? And I see no movement. I will now close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the application for a new Series 7 beer and wine bar liquor license for Cat Wagon Tap and Bottle located at 2430 West Apache Trail, number 4 Apache Trail, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Cross?
Yes.
Councilmember Heck?
Yes.
Councilmember Soller?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Consideration and application of a new Series 6 liquor license for Dog Run Saloon. Evie again.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Again, this is not a new location or new license. It is simply new owners that have taken over the establishment. We did receive the application from the liquor license on May 5th. A notice was posted at the location of the public hearing for tonight on May 20th. Correspondence was received from our four entities: the Police Department, Building and Safety, Planning and Zoning, and the Superstition Fire, all with recommending approval. And again, I am not sure. There is an applicant here if you have any questions for him or myself.
Any questions from the council? And seeing none, so I will open to the public hearing. There's a 5-minute time limit again, with a 1-minute warning light that you'll hear. Please state your name and address for the record. Anyone like to speak on this? I see no movement. I will now I'll now close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the application for a new Series 6 bar liquor license for Dog Run Saloon located at 320 West Superstition Boulevard, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Soller?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser? Yes. Councilmember Cross?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Heck?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you. Presentation, discussion, public hearing, consideration of conditional use permit case P 24-104 CUP, resolution number 2519. Okay.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Kelsey Shatnick. I am a planner on staff, and tonight I will be presenting the formal appeal of the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision of conditional use permit case P 24-104 CUP, a CUP to allow a multifamily residential rental development in the city center or B3 zoning district. Now, since the CUP appeal process is not a common occurrence, I wanted to give a brief overview of how we got here today. So the applicant submitted their initial pre-application review in June of 2024. They submitted their formal conditional use permit application in October of 2024. The public hearing with the Planning and Zoning Commission was on April 8th, 2025, and at that meeting, the commission voted 5-2 to deny the request. So within our zoning ordinance, it allows an appeal of the Planning and Zoning Commission decision as long as the appeal is received within 28 days after the official vote. The formal deadline was May 6, 2025. However, the applicant submitted an appeal on April 24th, 2025. So after we received that formal appeal, the applicant worked with staff in order to determine the earliest day that their case could be heard, which is how we came to be here tonight. So moving on to the project details of this case, the property is located near the northwest corner of Apache Trail and Idaho Road, and the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to construct a 336 three-story market rate multifamily residential rental development. The subject site, again, is zoned city center or B3. The property is surrounded by B3 zoning districts to the north, to the east, as well as to the south, and to the west. The property is primarily zoned manufactured home park. In terms of the general plan land use designation, this property, as well as all of the surrounding properties, are designated downtown mixed use. So a general plan amendment is not required as part of this application, since the proposed multifamily use is consistent with the existing general plan designation, which encourages retail, office, and/or multifamily uses. So here's the site and the landscape plan for the property. The development will include 336 units spread across 14 buildings. The site will be a mix of 1- and 2-bedroom units. All buildings besides the clubhouse will be 3 stories in height. The primary access for the property will be off of Apache Trail, and this can be used by both residents and non-residents. They are also including a secondary access point off of Plaza Drive. This will be for resident use only. And there were 2 things that I wanted to point out about this secondary access. So the secondary access has actually been moved further north than originally proposed. This was in hope to decrease traffic conflicts with the existing Lost Dutchman RV Resort across the street, and that entrance has since been replaced with a pedestrian access point to allow pedestrians to access Plaza Drive. The applicant is also going to be installing what's called a pork chop, and basically that will help to encourage traffic to travel north onto Plaza Drive to Superstition, and hopefully help to decrease any traffic going south on Plaza Drive. And finally, I wanted to point out a few of the amenities that the applicant is providing. They are providing quite a few. Some of these include a dog park, usable open space, clubhouse, pool, carports, as well as grill areas. So here are the proposed elevations for the site. The applicant is proposing 3 building types and has worked closely with staff to achieve the designs that you see in front of you tonight. As you can see in this image, all ground floor units will have an enclosed private patio, and you will see this consistently shown throughout all 3 building types. Here's building type 2. Just something to note about building type 2, there will be functional balconies as part of this building type. This will be 6 of the 14 total buildings. And here's building type 3. Again, you can see that patio design continuing out throughout the community. They have also incorporated items like desert tone colors, awnings, stucco, and an enhanced cornice feature, basically to create a really cohesive feeling community across the entire development. And then I just wanted to highlight the clubhouse, which will be at the primary entrance for this development. In terms of public input, a sign was posted at the site, notices were sent out to property owners within 300 feet, and the case was advertised in the newspaper. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on December 9th, 2024. 4 individuals attended this meeting. 2 were local business owners who were in support of the project, and 2 were representatives of the Lost Dutchman RV Resort who noted concerns regarding the building height as well as traffic. The applicant also held an additional outreach meeting for local business owners on May 12th, 2025. 15 individuals attended this meeting other than staff and the applicant, and a significant number of attendees noted support for the project. Staff also spoke with 6 individuals regarding this project. Primary concerns and questions heard were on-street parking along Plaza Drive, building height and blocked views of the Superstitions, increased traffic along Plaza and Apache Trail, as well as clarification of the appeal process. Staff also received numerous letters and emails regarding the development. All letters were included as an attachment to the staff report. Any additional letters that came in after that internal deadline were provided to you as a physical copy today. Main concerns heard throughout these letters were an increase in traffic, loss of views, construction traffic, and impact on water pressure and electricity. Main reasons for support heard were the addition of year-round residents to support local businesses, and that the project aligns with the general plan and overall downtown vision. So as part of this request, the applicant is requesting a reduction in parking. So per city code, the site is required to provide a total of 749 on-site spaces. So this includes both parking spaces per unit, which per this development plan would require 648 spaces, as well as guest parking, which would require 101 spaces. So the applicant is actually proposing to provide a total of 684 on-site spaces, which is the equivalent to an 8.7% reduction, which is 65 total spaces of required on-site parking. So basically, to help put that into a little bit of perspective, the proposed total of 684 spaces meets the required parking spaces per unit, which is determined by bedroom count. So their proposed total provides an average of 2.04 spaces per unit, and this average considers both resident spaces as well as guest parking spaces. So this request effectively requests a reduction of guest parking by 65 spaces. Per city code, staff can administratively approve a 10% reduction in required parking if the project meets 2 primary requirements. The first is that the applicant must provide technical evidence that the proposed use generates a parking demand that is at least 10% less than the required parking standard. The applicant has provided a parking analysis demonstrating a demand less than the required standard. And number 2, the zoning administrator must determine that a portion of the required parking can be accommodated with existing public parking that is available within 100 feet of the property. As part of this application, the applicant is providing 45 on-street parking stalls within 100 feet of the site. So as you might know, parking reduction requests are not common. But the ordinance does allow this flexibility to help strategically reduce overparking, which can help provide additional space for on-site amenities for residents. So staff is supported of the requested reduction in parking at this site due to the evidence provided, which is the parking study, as well as the 45 on-street public parking stalls along Plaza Drive. I also thought it was important to note that they will also be within walking distance of a total of 140 on-street parking stalls, both along Plaza Drive as well as Apache Trail. And since this reduction can be administratively approved, staff will issue a separate approval letter for the reduction if the proposed project is approved. In addition to the parking reduction, planning staff supports the proposed multifamily use at this site for the following reasons. Number one, the use is compatible with the existing city center zoning district, which is intended for commercial, recreational, and/or multifamily uses. Number two, the use aligns with the voter-approved city center general plan designation, supporting multiple downtown goals, including providing a mix of residential, commercial, and recreational uses in the downtown, providing a variety of housing options, and encouraging infill development. Finally, the use aligns with the proposed land use indicated within the concentrated downtown master plan update, which has been indicated as residential. With that, staff recommends approval of case P-24-104-CUP, subject to the conditional use permit findings of fact and the full list of conditions noted within the staff report. So that concludes my presentation for this evening. At this time, I am going to invite the applicant up, as they do have a presentation for you. At the conclusion of their presentation, both the applicant as well as staff will be available to help answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. I just wanted to observe, before I began my presentation, that I was very impressed with the community support for your fallen officer. That was very impressive. Thank you. For your record, my name is Paul Gilbert. My address is 701 North 44th Street, Phoenix, Arizona. And with me is Andy Jokums, who is a planner in my office and who will be assisting me in the presentation. We're here on behalf of the Wolff Company, who has the property in escrow and would like to develop the property. They are the applicant in connection with the conditional use permit. I think it's important for you to see the people you're dealing with, so I'm going to ask them to stand with us. From Wolff is Chase Cochrane, Derek Clayton, and Katie Rayner. The Wolff Company is a very experienced company dealing with multifamily projects. I think it's important for you to know, as we reason together today, who they are and a little bit about them. They're a third-generation family-owned business. They were founded in 1949, and they're headquartered in Scottsdale, Arizona. They are a local product and have copious experience dealing with multifamily in the valley. As evidence of that, they own and manage almost 10,000 units of multifamily throughout the valley, and they have another 4,000 units in various stages of development. Unlike other requests that you have heard in the past, we come before you today emphatically in the posture of someone that is not speculating on this property. We bought it to build, and we intend to build, and we will be the long-term owners of the subject property. On the screen is an aerial photograph of the downtown area with the subject property highlighted. Again, not wanting to be redundant, but as Kelsey pointed out, and I think it's terribly important that we focus on this fact, that the general plan land use designation for this property is downtown mixed use. You could not have a designation in your general plan that fits what we're proposing this evening. Now, we need to clear up a couple of things. These are what are known as market rate, non-age restricted multifamily units. There will be a single-story clubhouse building and rental office, and the on-site amenities, as Kelsey pointed out quickly, are pool, dog park, fitness center, barbecues, covered parking, and all of the amenities one would expect for a quality project such as what we are proposing. Now, we recently heard about the hitching post at Fry's. We kind of like that idea. So we thought a similar hitching post might be a good addition for our project. So we're going to propose to our Apache Trail frontage, so we will start working immediately on having a hitching post there consistent with what Fry's has set as an example. I might add, I've done this once before, and you won't believe it, but in Cave Creek, we had a McDonald's, and we were asked by the town council if we would put a hitching post in the McDonald's. Now, along with your Big Mac, that's quite a diversion from what McDonald's usually does, and I'm happy to report we put it in and it's gone over very well. So we're excited to add that to our proposal to you this evening. Now, I also need to clarify the word affordable. People have said, well, these are affordable units. This is not government-sponsored. This is not in any way associated with federal subsidies in any way. These are market rate-driven units. And because we are less expensive than what you know commonly as a build-to-rent project, our rents are somewhat lower than the build-to-rent. And so people have said, well, then you're affordable. Well, the build-to-rent units are single-family homes, really, but they're rental units. And they have big yards, big homes, and are very similar to single-family homes. That isn't us, but we are less expensive than they are, and so some people have given us the appellation affordable. That's the only sense we're affordable, in that we are less expensive than the build-to-rent units. I'd like to talk briefly about the benefits of this project. This is an $80 million project that we're proposing to bring to Apache Junction, and we will be investing $7.3 million into public infrastructure. This includes $1 million in developer-installed improvements, roadways, parking, so on. Another $2.7 million will be paid to the city in the form of impact fees into the various categories as required by the city, and that is money that you can spend as you deem appropriate, consistent, of course, with the other requirements of impact fees. There will be a total of about $667,000 in fees paid for plan check and permits, and $3.4 million in construction sales tax paid to the city and the county, which we're all going to the city, but some of that, as you well know and understand, goes to the county as well, and we have no control over that. I'd like to talk briefly about the downtown. We know Apache Junction is desirous of a downtown with a vibrant mix of retail and restaurants. One of the main components to a successful downtown, and I cannot emphasize this with more vigor, is that it needs residents in close proximity to make your downtown work. So on the screen is a dashed outline showing a 1 mile radius around the Golden Triangle property, which of course is your downtown, projected downtown development. Importantly, only 5%, repeat that, only 5% of your housing stock in the city is multifamily. And there are only 2 market rate apartment projects with over 50 units within this 1 mile radius. That's a total of 450 dwelling units. And those projects were built in 1985 and 2001. You also have 2 low-density build-to-rent communities within that 1 mile radius. That, we submit, and the obvious conclusion compels itself, is that that doesn't work to make a viable downtown. And therefore, we'd like to look at a couple of successful downtowns nearby. We've gone quickly to Chandler with that same 1 mile radius shown. They have 18 market rate multifamily communities and 4,680 units built. Gilbert downtown, which is a phenomenal successful downtown, has 13 market rate multifamily communities of over 50 units. Combined, there are 2,358 apartment units shown. So in summary, 4,680 apartments are built around the Chandler downtown, 2,358 apartments are around Gilbert's downtown, and 450 apartments around your downtown. We hope to add 336 more. I think the juxtaposition of these successful downtowns with Apache Junction tells the story that we are trying to share with you here this evening. Now, we are allowed, as a matter of right, because we have B3 zoning, to have apartments. But you have a unique requirement for apartments that in order to build apartments in this zoning category, we need to also process, which is what we are doing here this evening, a conditional use permit. And we're appealing tonight a split vote of denial on our conditional use permit from your planning commission. We need to go through these tests because these are the tests your ordinance says should be met if a conditional use permit is permitted. Notice that in your ordinance it doesn't say you have to meet every one of them. It just says these are considerations you should take into account. We're happy, and pardon our lack of modesty here tonight, but we're happy to tell you that we meet every single one of those conditions outlined in your special or conditional use permit ordinance. I'm going to go through each of them with you, and I remind the council that your professional staff is recommending approval, and they couldn't make this recommendation if they didn't feel that our application met all of these conditional use permit requirements. So let's go through them very quickly. The first is adequacy of roadways and services. Let's talk about that in detail. I submit that that's one of the things that we spent more time on at the Planning Commission than any other topic. Let's look at it and break it down in detail as we reason together. Development of a long vacant parcel will create an additional demand for roadways, facilities, and services, but we believe that an honest and proper evaluation will show that the city's roadways and facility services can handle this development as proposed. Let's see why. First of all, we've met with and had meetings with your city engineer. He has concluded in his staff report that we meet this requirement. We also hired an independent traffic engineer, and he had to update his report, which I'll discuss with you very briefly in just a moment. He also came to the same analogous conclusion as your traffic engineer, that we meet this requirement. Traffic generation is an important consideration on this case, and we admit that we're going to increase traffic. It's a vacant piece of land, and therefore, if you put anything on the land, you will have more traffic. But it's very important to compare the anticipated vehicular trips. And please follow me on this. This is very important. The trips created by our proposal for 336-unit multifamily juxtaposed with the retail or office that could be built on this property without a conditional use permit. Of the three uses that your B3 ordinance allows, and these are the primary uses, office, retail, and multifamily, only one requires a conditional use permit. So retail can go on this property without a conditional use permit, office can go on it. Only the multifamily is required to have a conditional use permit. Our proposed multifamily trip generation is calculated, and please focus on this figure, we will produce 2,265 daily trips. 2,265 daily trips. If the property was developed with a shopping center on the 18-plus acres, there would be 14,952 daily trips. If an office development were proposed on this project using standard office FARs, there would be 3,910 daily trips. Again, we produce 2,265. The bottom line is, if you are concerned about traffic, the very best use you can put on this property to reduce traffic is multifamily. Retail and office produce a plethora of more trips than what we will produce. So if traffic is your concern, you should be supporting this multifamily development. Let's go on and talk about the traffic study. We hired a consultant when we first started this process to do a traffic study for us, and he is here this evening and available to answer any questions that you may have. But he did his traffic counts in September of 2024. Frankly, we caught some raspberries because we used that date. And the raspberries, frankly, were well-deserved. We do a mea culpa on that one. So we prepared a response to that criticism, and after the P&Z hearing, we had our traffic engineer consult with your city traffic engineer to look over some of the counts that the city had recently completed. It was determined that there was a 32% difference in traffic volumes. That's a lot. So we readjusted our traffic report to take into account that increase. We also took into account the 5% annual growth. So we have brought our traffic report current and did it under the direction and guidance of your city engineer. The result of this revision is the same conclusion. Our traffic report still confirms that the area roadways can hold the traffic and the nearby intersections will continue to function at acceptable levels. I point out that conclusion to you. It's not only the conclusion of our consultant, but it's also the conclusion of your city engineer. Another interesting point, multifamily peak hours are between 7 and 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. That is not the peak traffic that occurs on the other uses that we have previously discussed. Quick comment on the traffic impact map. We have put this graphic together to illustrate the traffic impacts of the development. In the year 2031, it's in the future, using the peak winter traffic numbers our traffic report generated and were approved by your own traffic engineer, plus the 5% annual increase, will cause an additional 3-second, I repeat that, 3-second average delay for northbound Plaza Drive vehicles making a left turn into the westbound Superstition Boulevard. And again, in the year 2031, there would be a 0.1 to 0.3 second average delay per vehicle at the intersection. Those, as agreed with by your city traffic engineer, or city engineer, excuse me, are very acceptable figures. One thing we wanted to point out with our property is the proximity of access onto Idaho Road. While we cannot access Idaho Road directly, we are only a few hundred feet away from this major north-south road with very convenient access. Any resident can leave or return to the community and not need to traverse the downtown when you have special events and shut down the section of Apache Trail next to Flatiron Park. So here's another escape route. Now, we've caught some flack dealing with water pressure. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. This slide basically summarizes. But before we even considered embarking on this project, the Wolff Company explored all the available services and utilities, including water pressure. We had a flow test done and all the things that we normally do before we tie up and commence a rezoning application. We confirmed that the existing water pressure and flow will support our project. Of equal and perhaps more importance, the same test supports the proposition that we do not derogate from the Lost Dutchman's water pressure. We have nothing to do with it. So it is a canard to assert tonight that somehow we will reduce the water pressure for the Lost Dutchman project. Quick on electricity. Basically, I'm not going to go into detail on this, but we did the same thing with SRP, found out that there was adequate electrical for our property and that there was adequate electrical for the Lost Dutchman facility next to us, and that we, importantly, have no impact on the adjacent property. Now, one of the other conditions is, in order to qualify for this use permit, as the slide shows, there can't be negative impacts arising from odor, dust, gas, noise, lighting, vibration, smoke, heat, or glare. There was a comment made about construction traffic using Plaza Drive for construction vehicular access and staging. We want to share that we have been communicating with the property owner directly to our east, shown with the red, between the red arrows there, and we have an agreement with them that for the first year of our construction, we can use this area for our staging and construction traffic. So we're staying off of Plaza Drive. Again, an additional unrequired but willingly given commitment to the neighborhood. Quickly, we've been regaled with a complaint about potential Plaza Drive flooding. I'm just going to summarize this very quickly. Their sheet flow comes across our property now. It goes wherever it wants. When our project is approved, hopefully that sheet flow will stop. There will be no more flooding, and we will put in the protections adjacent to our property so that we will not have any adverse impact on flooding. Indeed, we correct the very problem of which some of the folks at the adjacent RV park lament. Next, we have to show that the contribution to the deterioration of the neighborhood or negative impact on neighboring property values. We jump at the chance to address this one. It cannot be challenged that we are next to 2 RV parks. We're putting in a quality multifamily development next to RV parks. We're not going to have a negative effect on those RV parks. The new development will raise surrounding property values. We will eliminate homelessness that is now a problem on the property. And it is, again, reminding you, it is the least traffic producer of all the required uses that can go under the B3 zoning. A real quick comment on retail spending. Talk about contributing. Our 336 units will produce a positive contribution to the neighboring businesses. We had Elliot Pollock do a very detailed study about the retail spending of these future residents. His conclusion was, and a copy of that report is in your file and been made available to the staff, that will contribute about $6.8 million annually in grocery, retail services, and restaurants. Not only could those spending dollars go to support existing and future Apache Junction businesses, that also means at least $100,000 in annual sales tax to the city. Now, we are here with solid neighborhood support. Let me go into detail on that very quickly. We reached out to the business community, as Kelsey indicated to you, and they feel that this multifamily project will have a very positive impact on the neighborhood. Certainly, a project that helps local businesses does not contribute to the deterioration of a neighborhood. We have submitted petitions with 70 signatures in support, and you've also received 21 individual letters of support from residents of Apache Junction. I'm not going to take the time to go into it because I'm short on time already, but there was a great op-ed in the newspaper. I hope you got a chance to read it, that cogently summarizes why this important project is of significance to the town. Next, we have to say and establish that we are compatible with surrounding uses and structures. Let's do that very quickly. This comparison, we wanted to point out that the existing B3 zoning allows us to request 40 dwelling units per acre. We're seeking 18. So we're not maximizing the units or what otherwise would be allowed on this project. Our neighbors at the Lost Dutchman RV Park have 733 spaces over 41 acres. Their density is 17.67 per acres. Remarkably, almost the same density that we're proposing. So, at the height is also an issue. B3 zoning allows buildings up to 60 feet tall. We're proposing a maximum height of 38. If you're seeing a theme here, let me just summarize it for you. We are building below what we are entitled to build on height, density, setbacks, etc., under the B3 ordinance. The existing horizontal health building to the north is already taller with a height of 45.6 feet. With the same residential density as our residential neighbors to the west and the same three-story height as commercial to the north, we are certainly compatible and complementary. This is empirically demonstrated, I submit, by the following context photos. Another complaint we continually hear to the compatibility issue is that our building height interferes with the views of the Superstition Mountains, particularly from the Lost Dutchman project. Let's go through that and analyze that in more detail. Remember, though, we're proposing a height lower than the maximum. On the screen are some photos of the Superstition Mountains from Plaza Drive and from inside the Lost Dutchman RV Park. Given the topography of the land views will be blocked no matter what gets developed on this property. The only way you can preserve the views is to keep this property vacant and not build anything on it. But as you can see from the 3 photos at the top of the page, the existing Horizon Health building at 3 stories tall blocks views. So does some of the existing native vegetation, again looking at the top row of photos, as well as even the existing 1-story building along the east side of Plaza Drive. From within the Lost Dutchman RV Park, as shown on the bottom 2 photos, even their density, packed with homes, hinders views of the Superstitions. Basically, the only unobstructed view is north of Plaza Drive. That's the only place where there's no obstruction to the view, either already or under any type of development that would go forward. We had our architectural team work on a photo simulation that is now on your screen. Let me quickly explain this and go through it with you. This photo shows the view east from within the RV park and inserts a rendering of our proposed 3-story building. You can see our 3-story building in the background. Peeking out above our rendered buildings is the top of the Superstition Mountains. We do want to call your attention to the black line, which is an estimation of the 60-foot height limit we are allowed under the B3 zoning, which would block the mountains in their entirety. We're not doing that. Next, we need to conform to the general plan. If you don't hear anything else that I'm saying tonight, and that may well be the case, I do want to point out to you that an important finding for approval of a conditional use permit is that we are required by your ordinance and, importantly, simultaneously by state statute to conform to your general plan. In the staff report, the staff confirms that multifamily is supported in this designation and no general plan amendment is required. So, in support of the need for more housing variety, the land use element includes 2 policies that are an integral part of your general plan. Again, we comply with that general plan. Goal 11.3 of many goals that I could cite to you this evening states, quote, provide high-density multifamily housing within the downtown area. That is exactly what we are doing. We comply hand in glove perfectly with the requirements of your general plan. The growth element continues in Goal 9.2 to encourage a mix of uses, including residential in the downtown. The general plan has an entire chapter dedicated to the downtown. I'll only take the time to read you Goal 4.8, which says high-density development is encouraged within the downtown core. I may be beating the dead horse here, but you cannot avoid the fact that your general plan encourages this high-density multifamily in the downtown area. Lastly, and as a vindication of this point, you all know that the City Council in November of last year adopted what's called the Concentrated Downtown Master Plan. This 110-page document is the culmination of several years of work and research. The primary focus of this plan, of course, is the triangular heart of the downtown with the city's investment in purchasing the old Grand Hotel property. The document, though, also speaks about the surrounding land uses in support of that new mixed use in the city's property. Here we have an arrow pointing to our property. this diagram is taken from your concentrated downtown. Guess what that plan shows for this property? Right where that arrow is our piece of property. So we're supported profusely by your general plan and also by your concentrated downtown plan. I'll read just quickly from the concentrated downtown plan that says, for every successful downtown mixed-use core to be successful, here's the zinger, there must be adjacent residential, rental, or ownership that helps support the commercial activities. Next, we're required to have screening and buffering. Let's quickly go over those. That's one of the findings of a conditional use permit. So, surrounding the property will be a perimeter fence and landscape buffer. Proposed multifamily buildings are separated from adjacent existing uses where applicable. In fact, all minimum building setbacks have been exceeded. So we didn't just stay with the setbacks that are required under the ordinance, we exceeded them. So we clearly meet the requirement for buffering in your conditional use permit agenda. Such as, a good example is how we are juxtaposed against the Lost Dutchman RV Resort to the west. We're required to have a 10-foot setback. However, we are providing a 30-foot setback on these plans. The buildings are further separated from the existing RV residential by 145 feet, made up of a combination of both Plaza Drive and significant landscaping with a multitude of trees. You'll be happy to know, Mayor, I'm real close to wrapping this up. One of the questions that has been asked about this property is, why should the development be residential? Indeed, one of your conditional use permit findings says that if what is unique about the property or development's physical characteristics. Let's analyze that again in more detail. We are here today requesting a conditional use permit to allow residential on this property, mostly because it's appropriate for multifamily, but of equal and concomitant importance is it isn't right for commercial. One of the concerns the Planning Commission has, well, we shouldn't be giving up commercial to facilitate multifamily. Admittedly, commercial is allowed in B3. But frankly, this property is not viable for commercial development as part of your downtown, and therefore is best suited for multifamily. The property has never, repeat, never had any interest from retail developers. There are some things, excuse me, oh, sorry, Andy. Yeah, it is. I brought my own Vanna White tonight. I think he's doing pretty well. All right. So here are a few things why there haven't been interest from retail developers. And you're going to hear from the property owner who's going to verify that for you later this evening. There's limited visibility on arterial roadways. There's limited access points to arterial roadways. Low housing density within 1 and 5 mile radiuses, low traffic volumes, known seasonality of the surrounding population. Interest for this property has only come from residential developers. And candidly, the most interest this property owner has had to develop this property has been to create low-income affordable housing, which we clearly are not proposing this evening. Arterial frontage is an important and pragmatic consideration which any retail developer must take into account when choosing a retail site. This fact alone justifies why we do not have a piece of property that can be developed commercially. One of the largest considerations for developers and seeking long-term viability is a property's arterial frontage. Here's the subject property. It has only 125 feet of frontage along Apache Trail. Hardly a place that would attract a retail developer. In fact, the trail isn't even an arterial road. The results are we have a frontage ratio of 7 feet per acre. I defy you to give me a retail development that has such a low frontage ratio along an arterial street. And this isn't even an arterial, as I mentioned. Let's take some other examples very quickly. The East Valley Shopping Center, some of you know this is Mr. Sim Center. Let's look at that. Here are the facts. It has 500 feet of frontage for a ratio of 50 feet per acre. We have 7 feet per acre. The Golden Triangle, your very parcel. Here, the vacant property purchased by the city has 1,075 feet of frontage, or a ratio of 109 feet per acre. Then here is the vacant property adjacent to the Golden Triangle with the Old West Highway frontage and trail frontage. It has 1,075 feet of frontage for a ratio of 152 feet per acre. So, in summary, as this slide points out, the subject parcel has by far the worst frontage ratio for commercial development of any of the surrounding areas. I want to conclude with a commitment. We're here because we want to build and be a citizen of Apache Junction. We're not here speculating. You have approved over the years, and I won't regale you with a lot of the details, other multifamily projects, but they haven't been built. We're not here as speculators. We are proposing a schedule that is before you on the screen, with the first buildings and clubhouses opening the second quarter of 2027. The final building would be completed and occupied in the first quarter of 2028. The important takeaway is we are not speculating. We are here to build, and we are a long-term owner. I conclude this presentation, much to your relief, I'm sure, with the following staff quote. I want to close with this quote from your staff report, and also provide the following supplemental commentary. We have worked closely with your staff for, a year and a half? And we have made a profuse number of changes to this project. I'm happy and sincerely reporting to you that this project is a better project because of the staff input. We've cooperated together. We've made at least north of 20 major changes to this plan, following the direction your staff has given us. To say we have worked closely with your staff would be a major understatement, and they acknowledge that in the staff report to you. We have worked closely with your staff, and our project, I'm happy to say, is the better because of it. Their recommendations for approval don't come easily, and they state the following, quote, after reviewing the project proposal, the conditions of the site, and its alignment with the general plan goals and policies, staff supports the proposed conditional use permit, given the project's central location within the downtown area. A multifamily development of this site would contribute to the density necessary to support both current and future commercial uses. Quote, residential density in downtown areas is particularly important as it creates a vibrant, active environment that help sustain and attract businesses. In summary, we're consistent with your general plan. We've worked with your staff. We're here with a very strong positive staff report. We are in agreement with every condition of approval the planning staff has recommended as part of its recommendation to you, and we are entirely consistent with the general plan. There's only 3 uses that can go on this property: retail, office, or multifamily. Traffic is a concern, and we are the lowest traffic generating use proposed in your ordinance for this property. And therefore, we have also reviewed with you, perhaps ad nauseum in detail, all the requirements of a conditional use permit. And I state with emphasis that we meet every single one of those criteria. Thank you for listening. We'd be happy to answer any other questions or sit down and give you a break.
Any questions from?
I might have more after the public hearing.
Anyone else got a question over here? Yes?
Mr. Gilbert, quick question. You will have an HOA with this development?
No, this is a multifamily project, so it's an ownership. So we control and manage it. So typically, you don't have an HOA with an apartment complex.
But you'll have on-site management?
On-site management, full-time, yes.
Okay. Right.
Just to reiterate, you will have a crime-free lease addendum for your managers to use with the police department, correct?
That is, as you well, Mayor, excuse me, and Councilman, yes, as I have indicated to you previously in writing, that we will do. That is an integral part. Okay, I'm sorry, usually people ask me to tone it down.
Brian.
Oh, I think it's you they can't hear, I'm sorry.
I asked if they're going to have a crime-free multi-housing form that's signed by all the people that live there and work with the police department if there are any trouble areas, that they will take care of those working through the police department and the management team of the apartments.
We unequivocally commit to do that. That is a significant part of our lease and is signed by every resident in our project.
Thank you.
I'm going to make one quick comment with a series of emails that I had received from the RV park about the low water pressure and the power problems that I guess some of them were experiencing. I had the city contact the Arizona Water as well as SRP in the aspect on it. And the Arizona Water came out and did a test at the connection point that goes into the RV park, and verified that they had over 100 PSI of pressure coming to that joint. But what was coming out of it after the RV park had regulated it down to 40 PSI. So that is a problem with the park. It is not a problem with the water delivery from Arizona Water. Also, I asked have SRP come out, and they verified that their connections points coming into the RV park had plenty of power, and do not understand why that there would be anyone who would receive, I'll say, the loss of dimming of power is what they were complaining about. And they said that again would be a problem on the RV park, not with SRP's delivery to the park. So those two complaints right there are something that is a problem with the park. It's not a problem with the delivery of electricity and water.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you bring him down with me?
Any additional discussion from the council?
Eventually, yes.
Pardon?
I said eventually.
Eventually, but not right now.
I feel like we wait.
Okay.
If you want to take a 5 before we start this whole thing.
What?
Take a 5 before we start this whole thing.
Oh, you want to take a 5?
I have a feeling it might be a little longer.
Okay, we'll take a brief, let's make it a 3-minute break for, and then we'll come back in with the hearing. I'd like to have everyone sit down again. Okay. Hello? Hello? Get louder, okay.
I'll just start the meeting.
All right. I have now have a, wow, it's even louder. We're getting ready now to start the public hearing, but before I do that, I wanted to make one other additional comment that I forgot to mention up front, was number one, again, if you're in a group and you'd like to speak, we definitely would like you to just have one person from that group come up and talk. Second thing I wanted to mention was that, again, at the RV park, they do have a second entrance and exit that's on the north side that's not being used right now, that can be used in the, in the aspect, can be opened up, which would help part of the, I'll say, traffic concerns that were there. But I really don't feel that either one of those three subjects, would be, I'm going to say, being brought up repeatedly. Also, for when people are speaking, please, as an audience, allow them to speak, and no, boos or additional noises that, would be distractive. So I'd like to keep it as meaningful as possible. All right, I will now open the public hearing. There's a 5-minute time limit for, with a 1-minute warning that you will hear. Please state your name and address for the record. And if you get to the end of the 5 minutes, I'll definitely take you out.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Andre Meek, 1327 South Bel Air, here in AJ. I do not have a dog in this fight, live nowhere near it. But in looking at what's been presented, my biggest concern would be traffic. Coming in, going out, coming out on Plaza, on the Superstition, right now, you got one car or two cars at a time. When your peak hours come, you're going to have a lot more. I really feel that if this is approved, that Plaza should be having a traffic light installed. And it could be one, it's a trigger light, and one that, kind of triggers during the time of peak traffic. And you got to have a flasher for the rest of the time. But, this is Arizona. Everybody speeds. You're going to have people coming down Superstition 45, 55 miles an hour like they do now, heading east, coming up to the light on Idaho. Somebody trying to pull out on the 4-lane highway there, it could get messy. And I really think that should be a real big concern. Putting a light there, as far as height, it's lower than what's restricted to. It, it meets the height restrictions, and that piece of property, no matter what you put there, it's going to block part of the mountain. And where it is, what it is, we need housing. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, it fits the envelope that the city's looking for. It, would give more housing. But, one thing you got to concern yourselves about is they want to reduce parking in there. Well, everybody's going to have a car. We don't have buses in AJ. There is no public transportation at all. So you have to have a car. So you better have parking to support it. Now, a certain amount of reduction might be fine. They're proposing public parking. I'm sure that's going to be on Plaza. But, I really think that parking inside should more than compensate for people that are living there, because, you're going to have 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. So that means, working class, everybody's going to have a car, or 2 cars. And that needs, pretty much needs to stay, on the higher end of it. But otherwise, I see it as a step forward for the city. We do need the housing. you know, what else is gonna go there? You know, I'd put a motocross track in there if I could, you know. Then the neighbors next door would be yelling because of the noise and the dust, and so, but, yeah, you know, I mean, you got 3 choices, and like 2 of them really aren't viable there. And, you know, pretty much all I have to say on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Carr, Apache Junction resident. I guess I got a few things to say. One is, if the zoning board has been opposed to it 5-2, I don't think that we should be moving forward with it. For one, the city said last time when apartment complexes wanted to go in, that we were opposed to that, we'd rather have homes. You're putting in more of a transient community by putting in apartment complexes. That's one. The traffic, yeah. The having 2 parking spots, as long as you don't have kids, and I brought this up before, kids, someday they grow up and they want cars of their own, and there's not going to be enough parking spots for them. Then the city brought up the fact that we have 100 years worth of water in Apache Junction, but we don't know what AZ Water has. But yet, we as a city want to put filtered and treated sewer water out people's faucets. So bringing in apartment complexes actually will use more water than building houses. People living in homes, there's only so many, and you got a little bit elbow room in between them, and they're not 3 stories. So, yeah, I'm opposed to this all the way around, and I think the city needs to stick to their guns as far as being opposed to it. You don't want all these apartment complexes in. We want homes. We want people that are going to take care of our community and not just move in, stay for a little while, and then move out. And I'm also opposed to the fact of anything that blocks off the Superstition Mountain, because the Superstition Mountain is the 2nd most photographed mountain in the United States. First is Grand Canyon. So, yeah, I'm opposed to it. Thanks for your time.
My name is Maggie Barizzi, and I am my address is 2965 West Tonto Street, Apache Junction, 85120, and I did just sign a lease to move my office to 1705 South Idaho. So I'm a business owner technically in Apache Junction as well. Okay, well, you just missed my address, so it's not a big deal. So anyway, so I'm a financial advisor. Most of my clients are actually on Apache Trail small business owners. And in speaking to them at length over the years about many issues, but this one in particular as of late, the biggest detraction from their business is the outflow of snowbirds during the summer months. So this project would encourage long-term residents, particularly those that are in the highest median income bracket in Apache Junction, are actually aged 25 to 44, but they are priced out of the housing market still. So they are looking for nice, safe places with amenities to reside while they build their funds and save for that home. Apache Junction has a vision of having a walkable downtown. This is better for infrastructure from a pavement standpoint, road maintenance. If you don't have people who have disposable income to shop in a walkable downtown shopping center, then there's no point in having that as an aim. And this is one of the few apartment structures that it has safety features, the dog park, it has all these beautiful amenities, and the price point for the Havenly for the same 721 square foot apartment is $1,500. The median household income for the people within a 1 mile radius currently of Idaho is $54,000, with only 24% of that available for housing. So that leaves them with approximately $1,200 a month to spend on rent. Whereas the Wolff property, actually, it starts at $1,300. So it's more affordable, and it's actually 300 square foot or 30 square foot bigger than the Havenly offers. And the Havenly isn't walkable. So I think this is a unique housing opportunity for Apache Junction to consider, that it's going to make it more attractive for those middle-income families that are trying to build a life here. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. Tim Sheehan, 357 South Winchester Road, Apache Junction.
I've been coming to these meetings on and off since 2004. I think there's about 3 people in this room that used to be in the meetings when we met at the CAC Center. I think those rooms are gone now. Since then, downtown. I remember we had a developer then wanted to put a bowling alley in, a movie theater, stores, a tower, I forget, 60-foot tower. That was denied. It was voted against. I've this over year, the town has spent a lot of money to develop a downtown idea. So when developers come in with a plan, they're ready to go. This isn't a flipper. I know over the years, lots been talked about, well, we're rezoning commercial properties to residential. Nothing happens. For sale sign goes up, no development. Lately, there has been development. From what I see with this developer, they're ready to go. Like this isn't going to be zone approved, sign goes up, same old, nothing. This actually, I feel, could jumpstart the downtown. Get the housing in, get the next going, so we have a really nice downtown that the whole town can be proud of. That we can put where we want to be. We do have a lot of single-family homes going south of the 60. The whole Superstition Vistas, 210 square miles, goes all the way to Superior. We got to do something downtown. Little improvement, this is ready to go. I'm really in favor of it. My wife and I are moving out here, building the house. We did a rezoning. Super excited about Apache Junction. I don't want another crazy Phoenix, everything like that. I want it organized development. And I think this is what this project is. So please really consider voting yes and approve this. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Evans. I live in the RV park. One of the things that really bothers me is just about all of our residents are already back at their other house for the summer. So it was already voted 5-2 against, and now that they're gone, it's like everyone is trying to get in the back door and get this turned around while they're gone, which is totally unreal. Now, one of the things that really bothers me is I moved there because I've lived in Arizona most of my life. Superstitions has always been and always will be my favorite mountain. Well, they're going to block it off, but at the same time, they're advertising to the people that they're going to sell to, oh, you'll have the perfect site so you can see the Superstition Mountains while they're blocking us. So I'm all against this. You guys need to listen to the people that were here a few months ago and also wait for them to come back before you make any decisions.
Hi, my name is Linda Huss. My address is 123 Royal Palm Road in Apache Junction. I also am a business owner in Apache Junction at 185 North Apache Trail. I'm directly across the street from Flatiron Park. My business will have a view of this new development. I am in favor of this new development for quite a few reasons. I want to see the homeless people go away. I also would love to have the events that the city does at Flatiron Park be better attended. When we have our free concerts, when we have our free movie night, it's kind of a ghost town. And it's sad. The only event that's really well attended is the Blues and Brews Festival, which is awesome. But people come in from like Pine Top and Payson to attend that. And I think that having local residents in this, it was an incredibly beautiful facility, is going to really improve the center of our downtown area. And I'm also excited for what the city is bringing into that triangle that they just purchased. However, if you don't have the residents who live here year-round that actually go shopping at these stores, what's the point? Who's going to attend? Who's going to go? So I am a registered voter in this state, in this county, and I really hope that you guys consider helping to improve our downtown area. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Kayla Lemieux, and my address is 2750 North LaBarge Road in Apache Junction, 85119. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I want to briefly share why building a new apartment complex could be a positive step for Apache Junction. Of course, I grew up in and around AJ, as well as I work closely within our communities with our families and children, helping to better support their support systems. As we all know, our city is growing. More people are choosing to live here for our proximity to nature, our small town charm, and our strong sense of community. But with that growth comes pressure on our housing supply. Many working families, seniors, and young adults are struggling to find a slightly lower than market rate quality place to live. A new apartment complex helps addresses this challenge. It provides flexible housing options for residents who don't need the full space a single-family home has to offer or simply cannot afford a single-family home. This includes essential workers, retirees, and young professionals such as myself, who is a local as well. These people are wanting to contribute to community, but need somewhere to live. As you can see, I am a young person, and I found it extremely difficult to find an adequate home in Apache Junction when I moved out. That was 6 years ago, and not much has changed. Beyond housing, this development will bring economic benefits. More residents mean business for local shops such as Coffee Corner, restaurants, and service providers. Just as importantly, this is a chance to grow responsibly. Instead of expanding outward and disrupting our desert landscape and breathtaking superstitions, apartments offer a way more compact way to build that helps preserve open space, makes better use of the city infrastructure, and supports the booming economy to our downtown area. Council members, this is not just about a building. It's about shaping a city where people of all backgrounds can live and thrive. If this is done right, an apartment complex can strengthen our economy, support our workforce, and ensure Apache Junction remains welcoming and resilient for years to come. I urge you, council members, to vote yes, and I am in favor of this apartment complex. Thank you for your time and for your leadership.
Mayor, council members, staff, friends, I'm so happy to be here and finally saying something. In my 15 to 20 plus or minus years of being involved in the city and projects, there's one thing that I continually learned, and the only change that people like is the change that jingles in their pocket. Other than that, there's resistance. Usually there'll be something in any development that someone doesn't like. It's impossible to design something that everybody likes. It's just impossible. We don't work that way. Nobody does. I've been involved in so many studies, between the DRIS studies, the general plans, the paid studies. Everything for the city said the same thing. We need people, and we need people of all ages, and we need our seniors, but we also need our juniors. Because with the combination of the year-round residents, the city will thrive better. Since we still only have sales tax revenue to support this entire city, unless you passed a property tax, and I wasn't paying attention, I don't think that happened, the real estate term is highest and best use. And this apartment complex is definitely the highest and best use from all other projects that's ever been brought to us. Population is needed. The development meets the use, the city regulations, the traffic studies. Is traffic going to increase? Well, duh. Of course it will. But whenever it increases to the point that a light is needed, you'll make that change. Is it going to be needed right in the beginning? Not according to the studies, and there was 3 of them done. I feel bad that the residents from Lost Dutchman went home, but they could have stayed if they wanted to. If it was that important to them, they could have stayed. When my late husband quiet.
Stop.
When my late husband and I built then Mountain Health and Wellness, now Horizon, we had blowback about the 3 stories. We were the first 3-story building in Apache Junction. But what we did was we went into the mobile home park, drove all along Plaza, and none of those units had windows facing east. So yes, you won't be able to momentarily turn your head and possibly see the mountain, but you can't hide the mountain. You might have to go 500 feet one direction, but the mountain's still there. If the view is your most important factor, I've always recommended, then you need to buy the vacant land. That's the only way you can possibly protect your view. The owners of the land have a right to sell, and they have a right to develop it according to our regulations. And that's what they have done. From the drawings that Mr. Ness had done to what is proposed, I'd like to really thank the developer for sticking with us, trying again to go past a negative vote from planning and zoning. And I look forward to having more juniors, and there will be seniors in those apartments too, because I may be a senior, but I could still live there and would gladly do so to create a walking downtown district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. My name is Colleen Campos, and I live at 1245 East McDowell Boulevard, Apache Junction, 85119. As I just stated, I'm a resident of Apache Junction and a small local business owner for almost 30 years. I support the suggested development by the Wolff Company for the multitude of reasons already mentioned this evening. But I also wanted to speak from a business owner standpoint. As earlier echoed, well, I'll echo what was mentioned earlier. We know Apache Junction is growing, whether we like it or not. And so I wanted to share my opinion, as I said, from a small business owner. Because businesses have a symbiotic relationship with population, and the relationship is cyclic in nature, I want to advise that my company directs our efforts to adjacent nearby cities, because we've learned in our 30 years that Apache Junction cannot sustain my small business. We are fortunate in that we are mobile and we can do such a thing. However, many other companies, small and local, cannot. And it is, I believe, that we are in dire need of more residents to support these local small businesses. Again, I implore you to consider the development by the Wolff Company, as I feel that they've done a substantial job and offer what Apache Junction needs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela, and I am the proud owner of Coffee Corner at 300 West Apache Trail in Apache Junction, and I love this community. For a small business, an apartment complex in Apache Junction would bring tremendous benefits for me and the community. With a growing population, affordable and modern housing options, they're essential to the support of working families, young professionals, and seniors alike. It would boost the local economy, create jobs, attract new businesses, and most importantly, would offer more residents the opportunity to live and thrive in the place that they do call home. On a personal level, I love this community, and we've been profoundly affected by the winter visitors leaving. So much so that I've gone back to work, and I have my right-hand person take care of my business. I do hope that we can sustain during the summer, and I think this would be a huge benefit for not only my business, but every surrounding business. I really hope that you guys support this in the same way that I do, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Brindle. I live at 2750 North LaBarge Road in Apache Junction. I just wanted to kind of echo on that. We live on the mountain, and literally, like, there's just a couple houses behind us before the mountain. And no matter who builds what up there, everybody's arguing about who's up the hill from them. And even our neighbors, we tried to move the buildings and do everything, shorten them, try to make everybody happy, but people still aren't happy of whoever's up the hill. So I feel like the speech that he gave, they are trying to accommodate as much as they can, and they have made a lot of changes, and like we did with our neighbors, and that is huge. And my daughter works at Coffee Corner, who just spoke. And yeah, she's had to cut her hours tremendously, and a lot of kids around here. I have teenage kids that have grown up, and they all had hard times getting jobs in AJ. They had hard times finding apartments, hard time finding houses, and it shouldn't be that way. We need to have something for our young people that are here year-round, that are helping the community, and yet they can't find a place to live or work. So it's crazy how many applications they've tried, and places aren't hiring because the snowbirds leave and nobody has any jobs. I work for Banner Health, and even nurses are sent home during the summer because they leave such a dry spell when they leave. They affect everybody, even right up to the hospitals. So I can't imagine on small local businesses what it does to them trying to survive. So I just wanted to have a voice for all our young that are trying to, work for local companies that are trying to find an apartment, trying to find a house, so they don't have to move to Mesa, they don't have to move to Gold Canyon, and go to other cities and help Apache Junction thrive. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, guys. My name is Rick Slayton, and I am both a resident and a business owner in Apache Junction. My home is at 3718 South Warner Drive, and my business is at 300 West Apache Trail. And I had a whole list of things I wanted to point out, but everyone before me has just pretty much nailed each and every point I had, one right after another, multiple times. So I think all I really want to say is that you guys set the rules, and it sounded to me like the Wolff Development Group has met your criteria, and for those reasons and those reasons alone, I think you should let them do what they need to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Chip Wilson, council members. My name is Elisa Krasilik. I'm a board of director on the Chamber of Commerce here on Apache Junction, as well as a resident at 476 South Ironwood Drive. I also am a resident, and I own a mobile home in Royal Palm on 2640 Royal Palm Road. I'm also the operator and manager of Superstition Funeral and Cremation Center, as well as Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery. I share that with you because when we talk about my mobile home that is at Royal Palm, there's approximately 180 units, and right now there are 10 that have occupancy. When we talk about what happens during the different months of the year, there are businesses that depend and they count on that year-round revenue. When we look at this development, I was very impressed with Mr. Gilbert's presentation, because who are we really doing this for? It's not for us in this room. It's for our children and our children's children. We have to look at the millennials, the Gen Zers, the Gen Xers. Things are changing. People don't want to live on a 1 and 2 acre parcel. Nobody has the time to maintain landscape and yard. They want the simplicity to be able to live in a small, affordable. How do you define affordable? I don't know. It's different for every person. You can't put a dollar amount, because sometimes affordability is a part of your time. And people want to live in a beautiful building where they can enjoy time with family, friends, taking care of themselves, and not be having to worry about yard and maintenance. When you look at what that brings to our community, it brings jobs. We need to bring more jobs to this community, which in turn brings more revenue. When you look at the map, I'm incredibly impressed with the minute footprint of the corner, where that leaves an incredible amount of land and opportunity along the trail in Idaho, so that you can bring more businesses in, bring more traffic in, get people moving around. And for those, and I get it because I am a mobile homeowner, for those that are concerned about the property value, I see nothing but a positive for this to be able to increase the property value of the homes nearby. I'm a big believer, and I propose that we move forward with this. I encourage you to vote yes. We are a community that needs growth. We need progress. I came to Apache Junction because I saw that in the vision. I came from Gilbert, and I loved what I saw there, but I did want to get further west, and I'm so grateful I did. I encourage you to say yes because I vote for this, and I thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Todd Jarman. I'm a business owner. I'm a resident at 5264 North Idaho Road, Apache Junction 85119. Great thing about, get this up a little higher here. Great thing going kind of last year is everyone's made a good point that I don't have to make again, but just want to touch on a few points. One as a resident of Apache Junction and one as a board of director for the Chamber of Commerce. I moved here in 2016. I grew up in Gilbert, Arizona, when it was a pretty small town, when Val Vista was the end of the freeway. It was a good small town feel. I just loved Gilbert. I moved out here with my family, started a family, and Apache Junction really is my favorite place. It's been an amazing city to live in. I love it. You know, it needs growth. Downtown needs businesses. It needs families. This development makes sense. And you know, for businesses to come here, we need the bodies. That's been, you know, that the horse has been beaten many times here. I'm very impressed with the Wolff Company's just willingness to work with the city and really make those changes and make everyone happy. And the land there is going to get used. It's not going to stay vacant. If it wasn't this residential parcel, I would vote for a motocross track, as the first gentleman did bring up. But I don't think that'll pass. If it does come up for a vote, I will come talk about that as well. But just want to thank you for your time, and thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? In the back? Back. Okay, my name is Claire Lansing, and I moved to Arizona in about 1987 or something like that. My first job, well, not my first job. My first job was a substitute teacher for a very short time for someone who was sick or couldn't be there for the school. But I ended up at the Psych Annex in Florence, Arizona, and I met the most wonderful person, Dr. Cornelius Lansing, who ended up marrying me with 3 children and taking care of my children. Fortunately, he was a child psychiatrist, and he developed the first child psychiatry program in the world. He taught at Dartmouth and Chapel Hill Medical School for years, and he came out here because his old mother was about to die, and she lived in Gold Canyon. She couldn't take care of herself, so he started helping Superstition Mountain Mental Health get going, different programs all over the region in Gila and Pinal County. I was a psychiatric social worker, and my children all went to the public schools in Apache Junction. Even though, well, in Gold Canyon too, they had a school out there a little bit. But we lived here off and on, and I got this great fantasy that I wanted to return the blessings that I had received in my life by starting a facility that would help people. So we bought the old post office, which is back to back with this property. I have spent countless days helping homeless people who lived out there and did all kinds of strange things on that property. I was quite experienced with mentally ill people, as it happens, because that's what I worked with for years. But my daughter, fortunately, she helped me with the business. We started with fitness services, and then she became a doctor of physical therapy. And we have one of the very few aquatic centers in this region. We have people who come here from all over the country. Before Canada cut us off, we even had people who came here from Canada to receive our water therapy. I was very poor for many years trying to set this program up. But as it happens, we're doing really well. And we're right behind the Antique Mall on Plaza Drive. I've never seen a lot of traffic on Plaza Drive, despite the fact that there may be a few people coming in and out of the RV park. It's never been a high traffic area, and we've been there for 35 years. So I'm just telling you, it may be congested at certain times of the day, or it may become congested at certain times if the situation arises, but it has never been a problem while our business has been there. We're across from Hacker's Grill, and I think the Wolff property would offer the most advantage to that area. And the reason I say that is some of our people can't even drive, and they have a hell of a time trying to get to our facility. We work with almost 80 or 90% elderly. Some people are young from car accidents or injuries, but the majority are elderly. We help them a lot. One of my friends came over there a while back, and he said he saw an old lady dragging herself in a wheelchair, and a few weeks later, she was tapping her cane as she was running out the door because she was in such good shape.
Thank you.
I'm tired. Okay. Great, Wolff.
Where do I put this thing? Right here.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Mary Seaver, and I live at the Lost Dutchman Park, and I do oppose this. The gentleman that presented the project did a wonderful job. I wish him luck with it, but I wish he would take it someplace else. I don't think that's a good place for this development. My husband and I have been here for over 30 years. We have called Superstition Mountain our mountain. And I'm not the only old fart that lives there. There's a lot of us that have been here for years. We love our park. We love our people. We love the city. We love the surroundings. But I would like to ask this committee one question. I have heard that Pinal County is has one of the highest amounts of fishers in this county. And I wonder if this council has checked on the fisher map, because building buildings upon buildings, which will make this area completely filled in. And that's what is causing these fissures. For people that don't know what fissures are, which I never did, the buildings keep building and building and building, and it makes the earth separate. And they keep separating, and they go in lines. And Pinell County has one of the very highest amounts of fissures. So I hope you'll look at the fissure map if you already have not. I think this is really an important thing because we do not want our land separated. I don't know what else to say. I oppose everything else that everybody else has said, so, but I do wish the gentleman with the project looked in another area. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Cottrell, and I'm the Chief Operation Officer at Horizon Health and Wellness. Our address is 625 North Plaza Drive. So if approved, we will be neighbors with the Wolff development. I'm here to express our support for the apartment complex proposed by the Wolff Company. We believe this development would be a positive step forward for both the community and our organization. It would allow us to reach and serve more residents through our healthcare programs, and just as importantly, it would support our ongoing efforts to build a strong local workforce. Currently, we face significant challenges filling our vacant positions, and although we're really committed to hiring within the communities we serve, there's limited number of applicants, specifically from the city of Apache Junction, which makes it necessary for us to look outside of the city in order to fill those vacancies. That's not our first choice. We really want to invest in the communities we serve, and we believe increasing local housing options is key to making that possible. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Stephen Harshman. I live at 250 South Tomahawk Road, and I stand to speak for this project. You know, when my friends and neighbors found out that the city bought the old Grand Hotel property, they were overjoyed. We were looking forward to having a modern downtown built, and I was one of the 400 plus people that came to the Multi-Gen Center to help develop the plans, and everybody was excited and looking for that. And the one thing that's missing, that's preventing that property from being developed now, is a lack of people living full-time, year-round in the vicinity of that property. And we have here today an opportunity for you to approve a project that's going to bring folks to this community. And it ties in well with the development that we have going on all over the community. We have a proposed business center that's in the process, industrial park in the process next to Horn Ford that will bring about 50 people. Employees to this city in about 2 years. A lot of those will be entry-level people, I'm sure, and it'll be about the same time that these apartments come available for them. And we can capture some of those folks as our citizens as well as our workers. And I think the benefits are really great for the small businesses there. I love going to the coffee corner. I highly recommend the cinnamon rolls there. I love eating dinner at Palladino's. I stop for ice cream at the ice cream shop. I eat breakfast and lunch at Hackers. We're going to soon be able to have a glass of wine and some cheese at Maggie's, I think. I've been known to have a beer at the Rusty Buckle. And I buy light bulbs and trash bags and stuff from the True Value Hardware. And my dog's picture's on the wall there. And all these businesses I know, this time of year struggle. And it will be good to see people moving in to help support those businesses, and I know it will trigger much more development. We'll get the Golden Triangle built. We'll get more businesses in there, and I know my friends and neighbors are looking forward to that. So I support this development, and I encourage you to vote yes for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for having me come up here tonight.
Pull the mic down.
There you go.
Pull it right down.
Pull it right.
Yeah, there you
Right
go.
there.
Now you don't have to.
Now you can
clean up.
hear me. Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me here tonight. It's been a long night, I think, for all of us, so I want to keep this short. I'm actually a resident of the Lost Dutchman's RV Resort. I bought my property there several years ago. I picked that park because it was quiet and peaceful and easy access to all the amenities around Apache Junction. My doctor's right across the street. It's really wonderful. But my concern, as most of us here today, I can't speak for everyone from the park about their issues, but mine would be noise, because the park is very quiet and they have their own parties, you know. But we came there, or I did, because it was peaceful. Next would be the traffic. I'm concerned about the traffic because the road on Plaza Drive is only 15 miles an hour. It's very slow, it passes the horizon, but it also goes toward I call it the old city, where the antique store is in the plaza. That is privately owned. However, I'm assuming that you have access road deeded, so Plaza Drive can go straight through from the south or east or west. I don't know which direction we're going to, but I think that road has been deeded. Is that correct? Can someone answer that question for me? Because it is a pass-through for us and others, but it is private property. Could he fence that off and block the traffic? I mean, if the property's deeded as an access way, I understand that, but if
We can't answer those questions because of the venue that's going on right now.
Okay.
We can't respond to your questions.
Okay, well, that's a consideration. The last thing that I will bring up tonight is you talked about parking. Parking on Plaza Drive? I mean, what, both sides of the street? Now it's 15-mile-an-hour road? It doesn't seem possible to me that anybody could get past that unless they provide their own parking on their own land. And to go their setbacks, you said at 134 feet, maybe they can have parking on their side of the fence, which I'd like to see a block wall built along Plaza Drive in front of our entryway as high as the county permits, so that I don't have to look at this beautiful project that they're building. I want my serenity and I want my quietness, and I don't want noise from that side of the wall, and I don't want the kids having access, coming out on their bicycles and spinning around our pool, because they do. Now that means we have to afford, and our yearly payments will go up to build another access gate in our entryway. So we are concerned, or I am concerned about those things, and thank you for your time. Oh, and my name and address, Marlis Fladlin, 400 North Plaza Drive, Apache Junction.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and community members. I'm Marianne Shabilsky. I am the President and CEO of the Apache Junction Area Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the Chamber, I am respectfully voicing our strong support for the Wolff Company proposed multifamily development project and urge its approval. This project represents more than new housing. It is an essential piece of our city's economic development strategy. To grow and strengthen our local economy, Apache Junction needs more year-round residents. Seasonal visitors bring valuable tourism dollars, but a thriving, sustainable economy depends on permanent residents who shop daily in our stores, dine regularly in our restaurants, utilize local services, and participate actively in our civic and community life. Local businesses across all sectors consistently cite the limited availability of quality, attainable housing as a growing barrier to hiring and retaining employees. Without diverse housing options, we risk losing talented workers, young professionals, and families to neighboring cities that better meet these needs. This development will fill a critical gap in our housing inventory and directly support our business community by attracting and retaining workforce talent, expanding the customer base for our local businesses, increasing year-round economic activity, and generating additional sales tax revenue that supports city services and infrastructure. The Wolff Company has a strong reputation for delivering high-quality, professionally managed communities that enhance the value and appeal of the areas in which they are located. This is a responsible growth that fortifies the foundation for long-term economic vitality in Apache Junction. The Chamber urges the City Council to approve this project and take this important step towards securing a more prosperous future for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, staff. My name is Jan Snyder. I live at 1853 West 19th Avenue. I am a permanent resident here in Apache Junction and have been for the last 15 years. I'm also on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce, and I am senior vice president of VFW Post 7968 Auxiliary. I want to tell you I'm in complete support of this multifamily project that Mr. Gilbert has presented. I think we do need more permanent members. It's very sad that our businesses don't make hardly any money in the summer because all of the winter visitors are gone. So I think it'll be a wonderful thing if we can get more people, permanent residents here in Apache Junction with this project. That's it. Not going to keep any more of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Emma Reyes. I'm with Republic Services. I am honored to be a young professional on the board of directors for the Apache Junction Chamber. And on behalf of the board, I just wanted to represent here today in support of Agenda Item 8. And I wanted to also give respect to all the work that city staff put into this. And I'm just very lucky to know all of you and know the community of AJ. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, I'm Kathy Waz. I'm a resident. I live at 5951 East Broadway Avenue. I did not come expecting to speak tonight, so I'm going to try to just stay on track. I actually oppose this for many reasons, but don't really see the need to go into them, as at least through this group that's here tonight, I'm very outnumbered with just a few. So sometimes growth is going to happen. I mean, it is going to happen. We know this, right? It's happening, and I know we have to work together for the good of what everybody wants. I know we need high density to go with a downtown. And usually, you know, you'll do high density, medium, and then low density as we get out to our rural areas. I think what I thought I was going to say if I talked was opposing it, and I still oppose it. But that's my personal reason for a lot of reasons that a lot of people don't agree with. If the city needs growth and it's going to happen, then I would just like to respectfully ask everybody to keep in mind how it happens, because we have something really special here in Apache Junction. And once we develop it and we lose the chance, we won't get back the charm of what Apache Junction is. I'm born and raised in Arizona, Mesa. I've been in Apache Junction now for about 6 years. A lot of people said a lot of things I agree with, and everyone doesn't like change. And I personally would rather not see this, but something's going to be built there. You're right, to your point, something's going to be built there. I would have preferred two-story. I would have preferred more space in between, but that's my personal preference. What I'm asking is that if this gets approved, As we have our general plan, it's my understanding that somebody, Ryan Knopp, I don't know if I have his name right, was hired in February to oversee the development of the new downtown. And just please keep in mind, City Council, how we develop our downtown is everything. And I think we can maybe find this medium that we all can agree with. But we don't, most people that maybe everyone doesn't agree with this, but most people I talk to out here, and they're not here all tonight, and I think even the people who talk tonight, we can grow, but we don't want to be another Mesa. As much as I love downtown Gilbert and downtown Chandler, we don't want to be them. We're not them. We have the Superstition Mountains. So if we put a 3-story there, please in the future, as we go further east, be very cautious as to what we approve, how much space we leave, where we leave walking trails, where our rural people and equestrians still want trails to get to places. And the hitching post that was mentioned, it's a nice thought, but it's not needed. I mean, it's cute, but nobody's gonna ride there, right? So it's getting that understanding of keeping the rural and keeping everybody agreeing. We can all work somehow to live together and grow, but let's keep Apache Junction special. Let's keep the superstitions. Let's keep the character and the charm. It can be done. We've seen other towns develop that way. And I personally don't like the look of this building for Apache Junction. It looks like Scottsdale or Phoenix to me. That's my personal preference. Maybe everyone else does. Maybe if it's approved, it could be done up with a little more charm. I think it's kind of blah looking, and it's going to be right in our downtown where all that's going to be developed. I'd just like to see some character and some charm with the rich history of the Superstition Mountains remain if this is going to happen, and develop everything around that. So that's what I'd like to ask of you guys tonight, is if this gets approved, let's be really cautious as ever. I don't know the growth for the triangle that was bought. I've heard people talk about they liked what's going to be there. I don't know if I'm missing something or I need to research. I don't know what's set up to be there. Okay, so I've seen a few things, and I think the walkable downtown is great. But if we're going to add this now, let's just not keep adding more 3-story rentals for more investors that want to come, for more money to be made. Let's keep some charm. Let's keep some character. Let's do it right. Because once it's developed, we can't undo it. That's my request.
Hi, my name's Gordon Lundholm. I live at 400 North Plaza Drive in the park. And I'm a fairly new resident there. We bought there because of what Apache Junction is and what we saw in it. It had the availability close of just about anything you need to buy as far as food or clothing or whatever, without having the heaviness of a big city. We like that. I also, because like I say, we are snowbirds. We're only here for part of the year. We're not year-round residents. But I live up north in a community of townhomes. I was on the board of directors for a number of years. And I would ask the council, do you have any limitations as to the number of people that can live in an apartment? Because I know of issues where you have had a 3-bedroom apartment with too many people in it. We had an issue in our complex, a 3-bedroom townhome, had 20 people in it, 6 vehicles. Along that line, I think their evaluation of the number of parking spaces necessary is somewhat misguided. If you have a family that has a teenager, you have the parents' cars because everybody, like has been said previously, everybody drives. There's no public transport. Kids, as soon as they can drive, they get a car. You got 2 teenagers and your parents, all of a sudden you've got 4 cars and they only have 2 spots per unit. I think that that's not figured right. I think there's going to be more traffic. I do believe also that a stoplight up on the Superstition and Plaza Drive will become very necessary to avoid major accidents. There is going to be a lot more traffic there. And another thing, I had heard that the initial plan for that property was to have something that looked Old Westish, that fit in with the atmosphere of the area. This building doesn't look anything like that. It looks like something that belongs in downtown Phoenix. Just from the aesthetics of it, I don't like it. I don't like 3 stories with the quantity of people that will be being there. I understand that you want more people so that you can build your city. But I don't see the layout of this city, even in what little I know of the projected plans, as being a walkabout downtown. I don't see it. And it's one of the reasons that we moved here. And I think there are more people that would agree with me than are available to be here tonight. Because I also agree with what was said by the first person. It was turned down initially when there were more people here who lived here during the summer. And to now come back and appeal and do things when they're gone is somewhat unfair to the people that spoke before. I see my time's almost up, but I would vote against this. I think it could be better used with single-level residences than having a multi-story building there. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson, members of the council. For your record, my name is Reese Anderson. I'm with the law firm of Pugh and Lake. Our client is Mr. Carl Hewish and Bella Flor Communities. Mr. Gilbert earlier referred to 21 letters of support. One of those letters is from our client, who wrote you in favor of this project. He wishes he could be here this evening. He's on a previously scheduled summer vacation, so he asked me to attend and just express his strong desire and support. I won't belabor the many points, but other than just to say ditto to those who spoke before and to the comments made from Mr. Gilbert. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Hi, Jackie Vargo, 400 North Plaza Drive. One thing that we wanted to get to all of your, that's exactly what I was going to say to y'all. Every single morning you need to speak into the mic a little bit more clear. It's very hard to hear you back here. Couple of the things for Mr. Gilbert and Wolff is that they did not go through and express in their PDFs or their Excel sheets was the parking situation on Plaza. They plan on putting in so many parking spaces. Where are they putting them and how? Are they putting them all on their property? They can't very well come across the street onto the park property, even though we have a brick wall there. You can't park there. That's not what Plaza was built for. Plaza's not big enough to go through and handle the extended traffic. I know that's one thing that you asked us not to bring up, but we have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit zone there, and they want to put 40 spaces there. How? Show us a picture. Another thing is for the staff or whoever does your emails. We have emails from our park that from May and June. In fact, you stopped posting them for June. You don't have any of our letters in your website. You also don't have, they claim they have 70 positive. We don't see any of those out there. There's things that are missing from the website that are now being expressed tonight. And it's really hard coming into a meeting blind. And that's what we're doing. We're coming in blind. And one other thing that I wanted to ask Wolff is that about their security situation. Are they going to do background checks? Are they going to go through and secure their park to where their establishment from for lack of a better word, riffraff or persons that are going to have 5 families living in one home, needing all of that extra background check, security checks, etc. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Adams, the manager at Lost Dutchman RV Resort. I believe I've spoken to some of you. We have 1,400 residents. I have 1,400 very unhappy residents. Many of them have expressed it in emails and letters, which are not posted on the agenda. We went and looked it up. More and more of our residents are becoming full-time. The majority of the houses that we've sold this spring, they're full-timers. We do have winter residents, but they also bring to the economy, and they have for 45 years. Apache Junction was built with RV resorts, and those people have brought revenue into Apache Junction. Now, these 1,400 people that we have at Lost Dutchman are only 1,400 that we have in Apache Junction. Between the other 2 resorts we have in Apache Junction, we have just under 5,000. One of the resorts, which has about 2,600 people, is almost completely full-time. The other resort is about half full-time. So we do have a lot of money that we put into the economy. We support the people in the area. We go to their restaurants, all the little shops and everything. If it's going to be an issue where you are not pleased with us and want to take away from us, it's just as easy for us to go to Mesa and get good shopping. There are no really good malls here. We need to concentrate on filling up some of the empty buildings that are here and having better shopping for them. The families that we have been here for 45 years, up to 45 years. The owners of the park are a 4th generation in Apache Junction. And we want to continue to live here and be happy here with our elderly. I see some of you folks might be over 55. So you should have more compassion for the elderly that are here. They bought particularly with a view. I was just brought up from Arizona City a year and a half ago because they wanted me to run the resort up here instead of down there. And the thing that pulled me up here was the view. We love the Superstition Mountains. I probably have the best view in the park. It's unobstructed. But I can see just by somebody parking across the street with a tractor trailer on the weekend, that if you put 3 stories up, we're not going to have a view. You might have this much of a view. If you kept it to 2 stories or turned some of the buildings so that there was a corridor for view, which is stated in your master plan, one of the things that you'd like to do, that might make an impact. It might make it easier. But the way it's set up, you're taking away all of our view. There is no workaround. And yes, it does impact the people in our park and the value of their homes. They buy in the park because of the view. I had 2 people that bought the month before last. Both of them have come to me the last week and said, if we'd known it was going to be across the street, we would not have bought here. Now, these people have affordable housing. They're elderly. You don't have housing at some of this rates for people. The apartments they couldn't afford the apartments even across the street on some of them. Some of them have a lot of income and can afford over there if they want to. They like where they are. We're a small community. We give back. We give back to the fire department, the police department, Genesis. We're always raising money to bring back into the community. I don't see this big corporation doing that. And as far as the look of the building goes, I agree. It's horrendous. In your master plan, it says it's supposed to be Western feel. There is nothing Western feel about that. And putting a hitching post out front is not going to be helping.
Mayor Wilson, committee. My name is Bob Stecker. I'm the activity director at the Lost Dutchman RV Resort. I'm here trying to give you guys support from our resort. I think some of you know me. Some of you know how we are involved in the community. She stole my thunder. We gave $1,500 to the Genesis Foundation, or the Genesis Project, last year. Chip, you came in and rode your horse when the Horseman Association were doing the Pony Express. We gave them $800. We work with Horizon Health. We bring in children from Horizon Health for a winter carnival every year. We do a lot of stuff for the community. I hear a lot of bad-mouthing because not all of our residents are here because they are snowbirds. Well, you know what? My parents moved out here as snowbirds in 1980. I've been in and out of Apache Junction for 45 years, and I've watched this community grow. My biggest concern is we saw pictures of what it's supposed to be. My caution is, will it stay that way? Will they start building and say, oh, let's go ahead and put a 4-story building in? Will they put a 6-story building in? They have the capability of doing that. My concern is that we monitor what's being done and that we stay with what needs to be done. If there's a traffic light needed, let's get that traffic light out there so that we don't have to fight the traffic trying to get on Superstition Boulevard. I'm in favor of this community. I moved out here because my parents were snowbirds, and now I'm here to be a snowbird, but I'm here year-round. So I support the committee. I just hope the council will keep everything in track. Thank you.
My name is Dennis Polzak. I reside at 837 East Hondo Ave. I manage the Handlebar Pub and Grill at 650 West Apache Trail. I'm also one of the owners of a 4.8 acre parcel in the downtown area as well. As a citizen, we love this community. My family's been here for 12 years. My wife and I decided to have our kids here. We have 4 kids. We love this community. But beginning to see a divide, and that's due to housing affordability. You have folks moving in with the ability to buy at the mountain, down south, our development down there. But there's a divide growing of affordable options for people that are starting out. And we're not building that housing stock currently. On the business side of things, I've heard again and again how business shrinks. We're blessed to have such a great following from the snowbirds, and we love them. There's so many awesome people that come down into our city every year. It's great to hear their stories and who they are. But when they leave, it does take a huge impact on a business. And so just, people say, oh, there's an impact. We do a third in the summer what we do in the wintertime. And trying to keep a staff to feed their families, to support themselves, requires some very difficult decisions to, keep food on their table and keep them employed when you have such a swing of things. And so, traffic can be a concern, absolutely. Views, absolutely. But I think the overall benefit to what we are as a community, because the community is the people, it's not the buildings. But as we're seeing a greater divide of people with lots of dollars and people with little dollars, this helps bridge that gap a little bit in between and does help the business community in general as well. Thank you.
My name's Wayne Ness, 2103 East Norcross Street, Mesa, Arizona. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and city staff. As I mentioned, my name is Wayne. I'm the trustee of the Bruce C. Ness Revocable Trust that owns the property that's being discussed here tonight. I want to just share a quick background. In 1962, Dad purchased several acres in what would become downtown Apache Junction. He later transformed the Superstition Hotel into the Ness Superstition Inn and supported the development of the surrounding area. He believed deeply in the community and its potential and invested significantly over the years. Dad was always very excited about the beauty and everything that this area had to offer. Over the years, he was recognized by the leaders of the time as an important contributor. In 2007, just before passing away at 99, my father offered longtime tenants the opportunity to buy the buildings they occupied. After the 2008 crisis, I worked with business owners individually to restructure loans and support those who wanted to stay and invest in the downtown area. The trust also renovated the old Cactus Club, which became the Handlebar, a community favorite. Since becoming trustee, I've cooperated with the city by allowing public uses of the 18-acre subject property, walking paths, overflow parking for your events, contractor staging. Meanwhile, we've dealt with illegal dumping, trespassing, and the area being treated as an open space. Every year I've had to sign a release with the police just for them to enter the property to just address these issues. The trust has spent thousands addressing these issues. Despite being for sale for 18 years, Wolff is the only buyer that has taken the project to this point. All other potential buyers have dropped the site before expiration of their due diligence or any public hearing. The Wolff Company has been excellent to work with. They've been in contact. This has been a very long process. This meets the city's general plan and brings needed investment to a stagnant area. Dad would be proud to see what this would bring to downtown AJ. This is ready. Let's bring it to life. Thank you.
How you doing? I'm Russ Vargo. I live at Lost Dutchman RV Park. And as I'm really thinking and looking at everybody that came up here, most of the people that are for it are business owners. What are they trying to do? Put money in their pocket. That's all they're looking at. They don't look at because we live here. These people right here are people that live here that want to see beauty and the future of Apache Junction is not with an apartment complex. And you wanted to restore the city to be in the old Western type town, yes, that is not going up. And that is not having paved roads. That is not putting more traffic in. All Wolff's doing is taking a box of mice and dropping it right there and say, now you got 365 units that have over 750 people as going to be supporting a business, which is not really true. All these people that live here are going to go to other places and do their business. They're going to buy groceries elsewhere as they're coming home from work, as they're going to work. And I've got too excited. I got to close it down right now. But please look at not the business people. Look at the people that live here, that want to stay here. And if that comes up, a lot of people are not going to stay here. And it's not just our park. It's the people around it that are going to be affected too. And I see that I would like to vote this down. I would like you to look at the people that live here, full-time, part-time, that live not as a business person to make money in their pocket like the Wolff Corporation is doing. Thank you.
Okay. I see no other additional movement, so I will now close the public hearing. Comments from the City Council?
I'd like to thank everyone who came out here this evening. We expected and we got people very passionate one way or the other. Some people are very protective of where they are. Other people are looking to where we could be. Nothing is any higher than the other in my mind, other than the fact that you came out, you were interested. I understand about the snowbirds being away from here, but I think the park residents got their points across, regardless of how many came here. To see this many of our residents and business owners be this involved in the decision is very, very heartwarming, I think, to everyone on this council. It's certainly a benefit to our city departments who work so diligently to take a piece of land, to look at a piece of land that has been long, long forgotten and try to do what they felt is the best for everyone concerned, at least that everyone would get some benefit and no one would take all harm. So I think that I really appreciate all the work that's been done and all of you who came in here tonight.
Yeah, I echo that same sentiment as far as everybody coming out and voicing their opinions one way or another. You know, all the emails that we've gotten over the last several weeks have painted a really large picture. We have, seems like a divided community. A lot of people want the growth that this provides, and a lot of people do not want it, one because of the growth, but the majority of it is because of the view, the lost view. And I'd like Mr. Wolff to understand one of the things that I think sends a message to the community is the project got voted down from planning and zoning. And one of the biggest, concerns, or a couple concerns, were traffic, which I think they've addressed that correctly. But views, and we all appreciate the views we have. One gentleman said, if you want to protect your view, buy the land. True. But in our master plan, the downtown general master plan, on page 21, and I'll read this verbatim, preserve key view corridors while respecting the rights of adjacent property owners. And I don't believe the Wolff Company has done that with this project. I really think that they can change the orientation of some buildings and preserve some of those views that we all so cherish. And Paul, if you're listening, and I know you are, please, please do that. It's not, to me, it's not very difficult to maybe change. We have discussed, maybe relocating some of the buildings, but and based on drainage issues and other problems with doing that, I've been told that it'll be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to actually move buildings like to the east side of the property. But I do hope, and I do think that they could turn the buildings, at least the two right up front on the west side, that front Plaza Drive, and they could reorient them so that instead of those buildings lying in a northeast or north-south orientation, that they could turn them to a east-west orientation and maybe create those view corridors that our master plan talks about. I also think that they could easily put some different facades on the building. I know they've added a lot of architectural features to make it, I guess, not so much of just a square box, but I think they could also add some other features that maybe bring in that western flair that our master plan talks about having. one other thing. The water issue that you guys talk about, and I've dealt with water my entire life. I test and work on backflow preventers. And like the mayor said, the water that comes to your initial spot where it comes onto your property, which is a backflow preventer, has plenty of pressure. But the pressure gets reduced down to 40 psi, and that's to save the plumbing within your buildings, within your homes. Those buildings aren't designed for 100 psi. And I would imagine a lot of them, or several of them, have probably the old polybutylene gray pipe. And you start putting pressure on that, and you're gonna have leaks everywhere, floods. So, I'm sorry you have water issues, but that's something that, your management company should be able to address one way or another. I probably have I know I have a lot of other things to say, but I'll let some of the others talk.
Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Ron. I, along with all of the other council members, have put a tremendous amount of thought and have considered this project from both sides. I think any responsible member of City Council would do that, would say, I want to consider the positive and the negative, the pros and the cons, and kind of see where this lands. Something came to me recently that I learned that I think kind of made a difference to me. Comment was made that we need diversity in this community when it comes to age. We certainly need our older adults, and hey, I'm one. You can see by the gray hair, I'm one. So we absolutely need our older adults. They are a mainstay. They bring the experience and the wisdom that we need in a community. But we also need our younger people and our younger families. I learned recently, I had a conversation with the current president of the Apache Junction Unified School District School Board. And I asked her, I said, during its most prime time, what was the largest enrollment you ever had at the high school? She said the largest was just about 9,000 students that were enrolled there. Current enrollment is less than 3,000. So if we keep this up, we won't have enough students to keep our schools going. And that's why we've closed schools, because we don't have enough students. So as much as I was in the senior living industry for 35 years. I ran the Brookdale community on Ironwood for 11 years. I love our older adults, and I spent a career working with them. But we absolutely need to have younger families that are coming into this community. We really do, folks. And this is the kind of project that will do that. And again, it's not perfect, and I think somebody also said, no project is going to be perfect. It's going to satisfy everybody. But I am concerned that we are not seeing the growth amongst our younger families. And I think we have to make that a matter of real, intense decision-making. Thanks.
Yes. I want to thank Wolff for giving us this presentation. It was very detailed. It was very informative. I want to thank everybody for coming up here, voicing their opinions. I will say it's night and day from the Planning and Zoning meeting for obvious reasons, because a lot of the people who spoke at the Planning and Zoning meeting are not here with us today. I do want to point out a few things during Wolff's presentation that kind of explains my position. They had mentioned other cities, Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, and how they grow their downtown. That has zero interest to me whatsoever. They also brought up the fact that staff recommends it. Now, those of you who know me, especially the staff, I would love to have staff recommendations removed from any presentation because I feel it unintentionally might influence a member's decision. But what does interest me, I look around our downtown area and I see places like the Handlebar, Palladino's, Rusty Buckle, Maggie's Lounge. And I go in these places, and these places are nice places. These entrepreneurs have spent a lot of money to make their places better than most. They are investing in this city, even though during the summer months they lose close to 50% of their revenue. I feel like, personally, it's time that the city invests back into them. And I feel like we need to inject some residents into our downtown core to help these businesses continue to thrive and to continue to put money back into their businesses and to make this city a walkable, enjoyable experience for everybody. I'll yield.
First of all, I do want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I listened to everyone's opinions, but I want you to know one thing. I don't think any of us up here are going to be voting tonight based just on what anyone had to say tonight. Whether anyone said anything that changed our opinions or our way of thinking, maybe, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else. No, but I do want you to know we are not voting tonight just based on tonight, what was presented, the Wolff presentation, your opinions and everything. This has been going on for a long time, months and months. We've read stuff, and believe it or not, we get a lot of things that are outside of the meetings that we have to read about. And each one of us, how much ever time we want to spend asking questions of staff or management, it's up to us as city council members to educate ourselves, to get the facts. So I do want you to know that we've put a lot of effort in, not only this, but what we're doing to create a downtown. We're not letting Apache Junction just grow up like Topsy on a toadstool. The buying of the 10 acres for called the Golden Triangle, this is all a plan of growing Apache Junction so that we can try to keep our Western heritage, but also we're going to grow because development's out here. We can't stop it. It's here to, it's just here. So what we can do is try to be responsible community members just like you to make this grow in a responsible way. It is going to grow. We cannot stop it. So I just want you to know that we're not just voting just on a whim. We've been doing, hopefully, our due diligence to educate us so we can make a vote that's a responsible vote for the whole community. And thank you again for coming tonight.
I echo that. Thank you for everybody coming and voicing your opinion. I've done a lot of research on this. I walked the properties. I looked at Phelps. What people don't want, people want change, but they don't want change when it comes. And I did a lot of research. That property really is not a good commercial property. It doesn't have the frontage roads. That's just a point. But I got a lot of letters. I read every one of them. I responded to most of the people that sent me stuff. After a lot of consideration, we got to grow our businesses, our restaurants, our bars. We got to help them during the 8 months that no one's here. And like I said, growth is going to come. I'm not 100% happy with how the plan was laid out, like Councilmember Cross said, but we have a downtown strategic plan that the voters voted on to bring this type of stuff to downtown so we could have a better downtown area. To fill those vacant buildings, you need to have people. Then when you have people, then people are going to say, okay, I'll build another restaurant. I'll put in a bar. I'll put in a store. I'll take the restaurant across the street, you know, that's a vacant building now, and make it something. So, like I said, I have to support the business community. We gotta help them. It really hurts them. I know they struggle. I go in there during the summer, and they are struggling. And more people helps them. And this property is not good for commercial. It just is not. So I did a lot of research, and that's where I'm at right now.
Your Honor?
Joe,
Your Honor? I'd like to add one more thing, if I could. Along with how I feel about this project, CUP has a list of conditions, and there is a condition that's not on there that I would like to add to that. And I give credit to Councilman Solar over this because he was kind of the brainchild behind this idea to bring this up to us, that the apartment manager will participate in an Apache Junction crime-free multi-housing program. And I would like to add that to the condition of the CUP, if this should move forward.
Does everybody know what that does?
All right, allow me to read, I'll read verbatim the condition. Apartment management will participate in Apache Junction crime-free multi-housing program for as long as that program is supported by the Apache Junction Police Department. Apartment manager will provide proof of such participation to the Development Services Department on the anniversary of the grand opening each year. In other words, this development must enter into a program with the Apache Junction Police Department for a crime-free multi-housing program.
What that does, it gives the manager of the complex the capability of removing problems. If the police show up and the police report it to the management, they need to deal with it. And that's part of what I absolutely, if they're putting this in, absolutely said I would not vote for it unless they had that. They do have it. And this is just locking it in that they will follow up with the city on a yearly basis to say, yes, your officers came, told us about this, this is what we did. So hopefully it'll keep crime down and keep the place nice and clean, and that's all we can hope for on that part.
Joel, excuse me. Joel, can I ask a question of them for the parking and addressing the parking that's going to be outside the development along Plaza?
Mr. Mayor, yes, if you can ask, however, for due process, you would then have to open it up to the public again.
Oh. Chelsea. All right.
Well, you could limit it to the parking issue.
Okay, what about if I ask just Chelsea?
You can ask Kelsey, yes.
Okay.
It's Kelsey, not Chelsea.
Okay, Kelsey. All right, excuse me. How is that parking going to be along Plaza on the, I'm going to say, on the west side of Plaza?
Thank you, Mayor, for that question. So the on-street parking will be just that. It will be within the dedicated right-of-way that currently exists along Plaza Drive. So it will be outside of their property, but within the dedicated right-of-way that is already there. Now, that will not impact the current streetscape. There is already land that is allocated for that on-street parking, so it will just be added into the area that's already existing, following the same design that is already present on Plaza, north of the subject site.
How many parking spots did you say it was going to be?
45.
45. Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
So, Kelsey, it's it'll look just like it does on the north end of Plaza, over there by the community garden.
That is correct.
And Horizon.
That is
Will
correct.
there be parking on both sides of the road or only on the east side of the road?
So the developer is only responsible for their half of the right-of-way, so it will only be adjacent to their property, not on the, across the street.
Thank you.
Mayor, one other thing. I would like the city to monitor Phelps and Superstition Springs Boulevard for some sort of traffic control device. Because the person that got up and talked about it is absolutely right. Superstition Spring Boulevard is a straight, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Mesa. Superstition Boulevard is a nice paved road, very straight. People do drive fast on it. So when people are coming out, I want to make sure that they're safe to get back out onto that road if they go that direction.
Absolutely. We'll do that.
Okay. All right. I will now ask for a motion.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd like to go with option B. I move that resolution number 25-19, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, be approved with the following modifications. The two westernmost buildings be reoriented from a north-south orientation to a east-west orientation so that it will create more of a view corridor for the residents of Lost Dutchman RV Park.
Yes.
Other than when Daryl brought that up, I'm not saying I'm against the idea, except we've never even talked to the developer to know that if something like that can be done. Do we want to vote on something saying that they've got to do something that we don't even know if they can do it? Do we need to, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but, I mean, it was brought up, let's change them. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but we don't know if it can or can't be done. I mean,
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
Procedurally, to keep this flowing, if you want to withdraw your motion, but then you can ask the developer to bring them up, and then you'll still have to open it up to the public if limited only to that view shed issue.
Can we ask Kelsey if she can tell us if it can be done?
Well, it's really, I think, a developer issue.
Yep.
Because I think it involves engineering plans.
So if we vote and say yes, and then the developer can't do that, what do we do?
You could do a lot of things, but I think before you go that far, you may want to see if there's even a second.
Okay, well, I'm just, okay.
All right. Is there a second?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. All right. I ask for another motion.
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that resolution.
Pull your microphone down, please.
Yeah. I move that resolution number 25-19, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction be approved with the following modification. Apartment manager will participate in the Apache Junction crime-free multi-housing program for as long as that program is supported by the Apache Junction Police Department. Apartment management will provide proof of such participation to the Development Services Department on the anniversary of the grand opening each year.
Second.
Wait a minute. Can I add something?
Well, if you want to withdraw that so that, Bambi, so
You want to
that-
withdraw
Otherwise,
that?
you have to vote for each
I'll
individual
withdraw it.
amendment.
I think
Okay.
he has to.
I want to just add that we do what Daryl said, that ask the developer to change which buildings, if that can be done. You want to clarify on that?
Yeah, it would be, if they can, reorientate the two westernmost buildings from a north-south orientation to an east-west orientation.
So, now you can ask for a second.
If that's your motion,
That's my motion.
well, then now you can ask for a second.
Okay, now can I get a second?
Joel, wasn't Mr. Solar's motion still on the table?
Yes, it
Does he
was.
agree to that modification?
Well, he doesn't have to agree to it.
He doesn't
It's
have to
just-
agree. Okay.
So there's going to be two conditions, it sounds like. Multi-housing program, and then moving the orientation. But is there a second?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Mayor, may I raise a point of order? Kenny?
You can do a point of order, yes.
Okay, point of order, yes.
With all due respect and deference to Councilmember Cross, he has given us a copy of that proposal. We have reviewed it tenaciously, carefully, and thoroughly with our planners, with our engineer, and I will tell you that that proposal will render this project in such a position that we will not be able to go forward with that change. There are problems with drainage. There are problems with parking. It may affect the amount of parking we have. It may affect other things such as open space. And we're not in a position, and I say this with all due respect, but with emphatic emphasis, we cannot accept that proposal. Thank you.
Point of order, you got to take a vote on both of those options.
That's correct. So you take the last one first.
Yep.
Can I withdraw?
Yes, you can withdraw.
I withdraw my
Okay.
second.
Well, I'd be the one to withdraw the second option.
If you want to, you may.
Yes.
So
I'll
we're back
withdraw.
to the original.
So now you're back to one condition. So basically, you like how it's written, except you're modifying it with one additional condition, which would be to add the crime-free multi-housing program and also report back every year
On the
that
anniversary
they're
of the
participating.
opening.
And I will second that again.
Okay, now you have a motion
Okay,
and a second.
all right. Now I have a motion and a second. Can we have a vote now?
Would you like a roll call now?
Yes.
Councilmember Cross?
I just knew you were going to ask me first.
Better you than me.
Right. In defense of Paul, he did state that my original proposal for him was to move one of the buildings all the way to the far east side of the property and reorientate one of them. But if there's at all any possibility that he can create some kind of a view corridor for the park, I would hope that he could try and do that. I realize our businesses are in dire need of support, and so I vote yes.
Councilmember Solar?
As I stated before, did a lot of research, and I support our businesses. Our local businesses need our help. They need people, permanent residents. And so I'm voting yes.
Councilmember Heck?
From my perspective, this project would provide more year-round residents, which we need, and presumably younger families, which would help to provide more students in our school system. So for those reasons, I vote yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
I look around the city of Apache Junction and I see way too many young people that are going outside of town. They can't live here. They have to live in Mesa. We don't want to bring up our kids, have them go through school, and send them away. We want to keep them here. I see this item as something that is not about just today. It's not about 5 years. It's about 10, 20 years. It's an investment in the future of Apache Junction and our youth, which are the future of Apache Junction. I vote yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Easy, absolutely, yes.
Councilmember Nesser.
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
And I'm going to go on with the aspects that, number one, that, to me, it's great seeing, the younger families with their children involved in the community. Some of the objections that I received by email and by letter contact was that it was going to have a tremendous number of kids running up and down the streets. Well, that is something that we want in the aspect on it. We don't want it to be no kids at all. It's one of the things that is great for our community to have a balance between us seniors as well as younger kids as well. And so I would definitely vote yes as well.
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you all. Expect us to be invited to the groundbreaking.
What's that?
Okay.
We're not done.
We're
We're
not
not done.
We're not done yet.
We're not done.
Done yet.
Chip, can we take a
not done.
2-minute break? I gotta.
Not done.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to take a 2-minute break.
All we have is this, right?
Are you do boop?
Oh, wait, you want me to take it from him?
No one for the call of the public, so we're going to end the meeting. Thank you.
You're adjourned.